Hello everyone, welcome to Coffee Cup Enlightenment. Today I'm going to talk about the gift of suffering. And at first I'm going to try to explain how can suffering be a gift. But before I even do, there's a bit of a mystical story to tell. And it first starts off is in the enlightened state, there is no birth and there is no death. There is no beginning and there is no end. These are all just concepts of the mind. But in the enlightened state, the concept of beginning and end, they're not. They have no reality. In the state of living in the mind, the enlightened state is absolutely incomprehensible. To have a state where there is no beginning and end, or birth and death, and also there is no limit, which the mind is in the judgmental realm, it is through the process of judgments that limitation, or the appearance of limitation, is birthed. But in the enlightened state, there is no infinity. Is the natural state of normality, and so basically the two attributes of who you are is infinity and eternity. If your mind were to subside in its entirety, and all the faculties of the mind were to subside with it, such as the judgments and the comparisons and the labels and the all the images that can be created through the mind, the good flavoured ideas, the bad flavoured ideas, all of these, which then your consciousness identifies with and turns into its identity. Once all of that subsides, what's left is the enlightenedness that you already are. If your mind were to subside quite quickly and rapidly, like say in the next 5 seconds, your whole reality, which is everyone's reality in this world at the moment, which is based through the mind, if that were to be taken away from you, and your enlightenedness shall be revealed to you, then it can actually cause a gobsmacking, earth-shattering effect on yourself in your realization of what you actually experience, because what you experience is actually already you, the enlightenedness that you already are. And to not see for so long, to live in the mind realm with all the judgments and all the dramas and all the reactivity and all the emotions and all these roller coaster up and down and treadmill and never-ending tension and unease, for all that to be stripped away in an instant, and for you to be exposed to your enlightenedness that you already are, can create quite a shock. And it's why it's rare that many people very rarely have the entirety of the mind structures disappear in an instant. It can render you speechless. When it happened to me about a year ago, where I experienced it for a day, my mind was dead silent. There was absolute dead silence. The level of peace that I could feel, not even 1 million orgasms would be a comparison to it. It was such a resting and easing feeling. But the most amazing thing to it is that it was self-evidently already who I was. And that's the most shocking thing. And not shocking as in like a horror film, but shocking like as in you're going to your bedroom and you go to open the door and you find there's 10,000 Disneylands behind the door. Like in a good way shocking, and an incomprehensible, amazing way shocking. That's what I mean by shocking. It's if you go through life where say in my example, where my mind was pretty prolific. There was hundreds of judgments being made a day, and hundreds of emotions being made a day. There was a roller coaster of emotions, every day experiencing this thing and believing that the world was causing this, and living in the constant never-ending struggle. Eventually the mind subsides, and there's a shift in the way you experience life. Before, in the mind realm state, everything's about what can I get, what's in it for me. And when all those structures disappear, and all the emotions that are generated from that structure disappear as well, that make you act a certain way and compel you to act a certain way, then what's left is you start to get experiences that by giving and including others and by helping others, you see that life's much more easier, and you actually receive much more than you could ever want by trying to take things from life. So there's many aspects that can change in your life once the mind subsides. But getting back to the story, why is it so that suffering is a gift? Because if you did live in this, say you never even came to this earth realm, you always were, you never were not, you're living in perfection. There's not even an image or an idea of non-perfection, so you don't even know anything of that. So even to say that you are living in perfection is not even accurate. But let's just say, based on a mind perspective, a human earthly mind perspective, you're living in perfection, you're living in eternalness. And again, there's no such thing as eternalness, because you don't even know anything other than that. It just is. So everything's absolutely blissful and perfect. And you also you're not living in a world of form, which is this body and this physical world. It's a formless world, so it's invisible. You're invisible, you're living in an invisible world. Everything's perfect. You are everything and everything, anything. There's no concept of being less than, or having something taken away from you. It's an impossible concept in this realm. So you're already in this enlightened world. You're in the enlightened realm. You can say it's home. It's the heavenly realm. It's where everyone's going to go back to eventually, once the game of life has been played and you've done what you've come here to discover. And in this realm, wouldn't it be the most perfect idea if you could choose to you're living in eternal bliss. There's no ends to the horizon, and there's no concept of time. It's just a constant now of bliss. Would you not choose, if this eternalness was ever experienced, would you not choose to throw yourself into the deep end of confusion, forget the enlightenedness that you already are, and almost to some extent start from scratch, to remember just for the game of it? Would you not agree, if you did live in this ever bliss state, would you not agree to the return, not necessarily return, but to place yourself in the land of confusion, which is this earthly realm, and then go through this game, and then eventually figure it all out, and then rediscover who you are again? Consider that as an option. And if you can see the possibility that this could exist, that if there is this infinite eternal bliss reality that you are, and it wants to lose itself and then find itself and then know itself more than ever before, what a perfect world this is, that there is confusion and suffering. And really, the word suffering, it's latent mind conceptuality. If you take away all the labels and you keep stripping back all the labels, you take away even the word suffering, and you just come back to the raw experience of what's actually happening, you actually see it's just a nudge. That S word, S-U-F-F, whatever, it's just a nudge you're getting. So this nudging process is part of the intelligence of the divine game. You came here in the land to forget yourself, so you can know yourself and remember yourself and know yourself more than ever before. And the nudging process will guide you back to that. So you got a little bit of an assistance, an intelligent assistance there to help you in this re-remembering process. You're not going to just be thrown in the deep end and live in eternal confusion. That's the destiny with this nudging process always at hand, which comes in a nanosecond when the nudging process is needed. It pushes you back into place. And if you don't follow the nudging process, then you get nudged further and further, and then eventually it keeps trying to push you back in place. And this is the cosmic game. The nudging process, it's impersonal. It's only in the mind realm which judges and makes it personal. And that creates even more nudges. Once the impersonalness is taken out of the nudging process, then the untangling of this confusion game unfolds ever faster. And the game of life becomes more self-evident of what we're here for. And really this is the divine mystical story that's been told many times before. This is just a different way of explaining it. And it's only through your own experience that this story can make sense a little bit. And it's your experience that you have with this S word. I'm not even going to mention the word because it's latent too much with with conceptuality. Let's just call it the nudging. When you become an expert of the nudging process, and you see the impermanence, I guess you can say, of it, and the impersonalness of it, and you don't take the nudging process seriously anymore, and you even welcome the nudging process. That's where your level of awareness has come to. The story of what I've just explained then begins to make sense. And why does it do it? Because it just wants to know itself more than ever before. And so yeah, that's the gift of suffering. And I said it again, that word, which is that dirty word, conceptualized word. That's the gift of nudging. Let's change it to the word around. The gift of nudging, which now doesn't have a negative tone to it anymore, is to make us remember ourselves more than ever before. It's the intelligence that's set in place. What I'm talking about, similar to the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's the one where he goes on to Mars. What's it called? I forget the movie now. Where you pay to go into a dream state, and this company gives you a dream experience where you can choose to be an action hero, and you can choose to meet a different lover, and you can choose to have this experience on a different planet. I forget the name. I'm sure you might know that movie that I'm talking about, but that movie has very similar condensations to the divine story that I'm talking about here. And when you see the gift of the nudging process, when you learn to laugh at it and smile at it, and the nudging process becomes impersonal, then less you get nudged. The secret to the entire universe is hidden in a smile. Many people have realized this before. The state of a smile, where you can smile at this nudge, the nudge won't come anymore. It's only through the mind's judgments to the nudges which which keeps more nudges happening because you're in the mind realm. If you're not in the mind realm, there's no nudges. So if you're smiling at the nudges, then the mind's not coming in the background and judging the nudges. So this is the importance of the smile. You can fake the smile, you can fake it till you make it, to start off with, but in the end, the greatest freedom, the greatest secrets to the universe are hidden in the smile. And it's this smile that's brought to the nudging process, which then stops the nudging process to some extent. Will this nudging process ever stop? To some degree it may happen continually all the time, at least in this lifetime, where we're in the earthly realm, because we're constantly being challenged to, because one of the aspects of who we are is infinity. So there must be something that needs to bring us towards the remembering of us evermore. So eventually, when you've been nudged so many times in life, and you've eventually just learned it's much easier just to bring a smile to it, which in other words is not complaining about it or whinging about it. Many people have done this naturally already in their life, and that's why they experience much more ease and peace in their life. But I would like to say is, as you go through life and you have developed much more ease in your life, you're now including other people. It's not just about you. You can see by helping others, everything works much more easier. People come to help you. You receive serendipitous coincidences. Effortless right action comes into your life without even thinking about it ever more. More humour, more laughter. And you're doing pretty well. You've got excellent relationships with your family. There's no more arguments with your parents, maybe if you've got parents, or there's no more arguing with siblings if you've got siblings. Your friendships with long-term friends, there's no more wanting in them. You just enjoy each other's company. There's no more worries about money. You might not have money, but you don't need the money, or you might have lots of money and you're able to just be at peace and enjoy the money and give it away or do whatever you want with it. But the money doesn't affect you anymore. It doesn't make your happiness. So all these realms, you might feel like you're doing pretty good in life, and this is it. This is what I'm here to learn. And it is true to some extent. This is what you're here to learn and experience, this effortless reality. And this is part of the awakening and the enlightenment process. The more and more peace and effortless you emanate in your life to yourself and to others, and you can feel it in your stomach, in your body, and in your eyes. The less frowns you have on your forehead, your muscles in your body are more relaxed. You're getting less sick because you're not in the mind realm anymore, which generates emotions which then turn into acid and then affect your body's health. All these things come into play, and you may be even in a sick state, but you're in peace in that sick state, whatever it may be, whether you got riches or poorness, but there's always an underlying of peace, whether you're rich or poor or healthy or unhealthy. The essence of the enlightened state, there's always an underlying factor of peace. So none of the external things matter anymore. You've found freedom from the world, as JC says. But I'd just like to say is, from this experience that I had 1 year ago, which was this incomprehensible level of peace, this baseline of peace that everyone may or may not experience, or you may be experiencing right now, it's not the end. There's ever more peace and depth to who you are, and it's incomprehensible and staggering, the truth of who you are. You're doing very well, and congratulations if you're in a consistent state of peace. Maybe you just got little frustrations here and there, or if you missed a turn off, you get a little bit of a frustration because the mind produces a little judgment in the background, and and all that sort of thing. But generally, your life's pretty going very well. You got excellent relationships. When challenging people come into your life, you deal with it with a good sense of humour, maybe make a joke, and you help fix the situation very quickly and rapidly, and you help that person as well who's been quite challenging, who's been in their mind. But there's infinitely more to that realm, and that's something to experiment with. I'm going to talk about in the next video, which is the self, which is pretty much the last lesson to enlightenment, really. It's the last of this cosmic divine game. There's only one thing that's standing in your way to experiencing ever continuous bliss in this earthly realm, which is heaven on earth, and that is you. You need to get out of the way, but the you I'm talking about here, this is the mind-based you. And that's what I'm going to talk about in the next video, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, have a great day.